What up, everybody? Welcome to the SATS Show, your beginner-friendly guide to saving in Bitcoin. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin custody, self-custody, the best way to do it, the only way to do it, and truly have no third parties involved, okay? We're going for trustless, okay? Nobody between you and the value you're setting aside. No bankers, no government, no anything. And it doesn't mean that because you are considering those things that you're doing something that's against the law or bad, okay? Why should the government or anybody know what you do with the value you work hard for, right? Just because there are people in the world that exist that do bad things with money doesn't mean that we should have to give up our right to privacy because bad people exist. That's what the sheep do, okay? We fight for our rights. Okay, so anyway, not going down that road too much, but what we're going to talk about today is how Bitcoin actually works, how your wallet works, and why it's important to take currency or start to take Bitcoin off of an exchange into a wallet that you have the seeds, that you have the keys for, and we'll explain how all that stuff works. I have a little chart I drew up a while back. We're going to go back to the chart, a little diagram, and I'll be able to explain, hopefully today, make it a little bit clearer for you on how exactly these wallets work and how Bitcoin works and all that good stuff and why it's important and what it means, okay? And most importantly, why the actual reason why you're moving coins off of the exchange. I know it's convenient to leave them on Coinbase or Swan or wherever exchange you're buying your coins on. But it's not yours until it's in your wallet. And we'll discuss exactly how that works in today's episode during the Why We Stack segment. But before we jump into the Why We Stack segment, round of applause and shout out to J-Dub the Laker in the house. What up, J-Dub? Shout out to Captain Dan and Leonard. What up, Leonard? I know it was your birthday yesterday, Leonard. I forgot to shout it out. I was still distracted. But shout out to Leonard. Happy birthday. Many more, good sir, and I'm glad to have you in here. So happy birthday, Leonard. Very nice. Round of applause. And the live studio house for Leonard. And a gong. Whew. All right, so now that we've talked about what's going on, let's jump into the first segment of the day, which we like to call the SATS Strength. All right, today the price of Bitcoin is down to $39,267. You know, we'll talk a little bit about why the price is moving up and down and why people think the price is moving up and down. And it's not going to stop me from stacking. If anything, today might be another quadruple stack day, right? So I know it's freaking awesome. So today you can buy 2,546 Satoshis for a single dollar. You might be asking yourself, what the heck is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar has 100 cents, a Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin right now for $39,000 if you just want to get started. Get started with whatever amount you feel comfortable with, right? That's in accordance with your level of Bitcoin understanding. Once you read more about Bitcoin, once you start to understand it more and more, then you'll feel more comfortable putting more into it. Because you'll realize that the real risky asset here is holding dollars. Okay. Anyway, you can start with as little as $10 on Swan, and you start getting some Sats, and that value that you set aside in Bitcoin, when you start saving in Bitcoin, is already shielded from inflation. And over time, over the span of 4 years, looking back at any 4-year span, you're doing good. You're in the positive, right? All right. So, hit subscribe, hit that like, and we're gonna jump into the next little segment, which we like to call. Not the next segment, but the next portion of this segment, which is, let's say you're walking down the street minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day you could have. You'll have good luck, of course, but you'll also have 25.4 Satoshis, 25 Satoshis for a single penny today, right? As the price of Bitcoin goes up and the dollar weakens in purchasing power, you will get less and less Satoshis for a penny, less and less Satoshis for $1, and your purchasing power of the wealth that you set aside in Bitcoin savings will go up. Just like that. Simple. It's very simple, right? It's crazy how it works. It's a really difficult concept to understand. We talk about it here on the show all the time, but it's definitely worth trying to comprehend. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more of that on the show as well too once we get through the wallet portion of the episode. Okay, so if you're new here and you don't know how to manage Bitcoin, you're just starting out, you went and signed up for Coinbase or Swan through us or any other exchange place, right? The feeling that you get from those setups from those institutions, except for Swan, actually, Swan kind of promotes you taking it off exchange, but from an average exchange, they want you to use it as like a banking, as a kind of like a bank account, right? Where you sign in, you have your account, and you link it to your bank account, and you deposit US dollars into it, and then you buy whatever coin, right? And hopefully only Bitcoin. You buy the Bitcoin, and then you're like, okay, cool. I bought the Bitcoin. It shows on my account that I have, we'll just say 0.01 Bitcoin in my account. Okay. And then, you know what? Let's intro the episode. Let's intro the episode. Okay. Sorry, not the episode, the segment. I forgot to do that part. There we go. Why we stack. All right. Today during the Why we stack segment, we're going to be talking about self-custody and wallets, how they work on the Bitcoin network, and why it's important to move your coin off of exchanges and put them into your own custody. Okay. All right. So for that, I prepared a little diagram that we've used in the past. I think it'll be helpful for us to talk about it while, there we go. Boom. Okay. So don't get overwhelmed. It's a little complicated, but we're going to go from the beginning. We're going to go from scratch. Okay. So, oops. So, okay. So, what did I do? No. Okay. No. What did I do? Okay, there it goes. Cancel. Escape. Back. Oh, phew. Too many shortcut keys. All right. So, you're buying Bitcoin from an exchange. Okay. And that exchange, it could be Coinbase, it could be Swan, any exchange. They have a wallet there, or probably multiple wallets that are holding Bitcoin. Okay. The wallets that they are in charge of are registered to the Bitcoin network, but you don't have access to those. Oh my God, what am I doing? You don't have access to those wallets. They have access to those wallets because it's their coins, and they wouldn't want their keys to get out, right? So the way it works is like this. This music is kind of distracting me, guys. Give me a second. Okay, so Bitcoin is a network that runs on Bitcoin nodes. Okay, and there's multiple Bitcoin nodes, a ton of them all over the world, right? There are, at this point, let's see, where is it? Current value, block height. Is it on here? I thought it was on here. Sentiment, hash rate, market cap. Oh, maybe in the. Oh, it's not in this. It's not in this one. But anyway, every node has a copy of all the transactions that have ever been logged on the Bitcoin network, right? And people refer to it as a blockchain, right? And in that like basically database, everybody that runs a Bitcoin node has the latest Bitcoin transactions, and they all sync up with each other every 10 minutes, right? Every time a block is minted. Okay. So once a block is minted, everybody knows how much Bitcoin is in each wallet address and how much got transferred between whomever, right? And how many fees were paid and all that good stuff. Everything is logged, right? Everything from the beginning of Bitcoin down to the first ever transaction, everything can be traced back and looked at and verified, right? You can see it on the actual Bitcoin network. Okay. So here's what happens. And forget about this part for now. Let's just talk about you're on a computer over here. Okay. Let's see. Let's make a little what's this drawing? Open. Okay, I'll take that. Okay, let's just say you're on a, this is your this is your computer or your phone, and you log into an exchange, right? And you say, okay, I'm gonna buy 0.01 Bitcoin. Okay. And then so you log in, and then your screen tells you, okay, I have 0.01 BTC on this account. Okay. And this feels like you own Bitcoin, right? But the Bitcoin network doesn't know about it. Okay. Only your exchange knows that they sold you whatever 0.01 Bitcoin, right? And just because they sold it to you doesn't mean that they actually sent it to you. They just update it. Like, this is just a screen view of something that's actually living over here in your exchange or whatever provider you're using to buy Bitcoin on. You're just a user. Just a user here, right? And they keep track of your stats there. They keep track of your dollars here. And it's just numbers on the screen, right? Because even though you think you own 0.01 Bitcoin, the Bitcoin network doesn't know about it, right? So your exchange, you have to, so there's the element here of trust. Okay. Trust. Jeez. I'm writing with the mouse that's basically a a rolling wheel. Here's my mouse. It's a sphere as to spin it around, so that's why my drawings look terrible. So that input exists on the exchange, and they can show you that you have 0.1 Bitcoin on here. They can also show you that you have something else. They can also show you anything. It's basically just text on the screen that you have to trust the exchange with, right? So that doesn't fix the problem. The problem is that the exchange at any point could pretend to buy Bitcoin for you, right? Take your money and invest it in something else. Right? I'm not gonna write invest. I'm just gonna put INV. And maybe that investment they do is not good, right? And it's a trash investment, so they lose your money, right? But as long as you think you still have 0.1 BTC in there, it's not a problem. But if you decide to withdraw that 0.01 BTC, they have to get 0.01 BTC for you, right? If they did it right away when you paid for it and they're actually holding BTC for you right here, they put it in their wallet, then they're going to be okay. But if they did this instead and took your money and invested it in something else and just pretended to buy you BTC and put that number up there for you just to look at as like something, as just like text for you to look at, and the price of Bitcoin happens to go up and you want your Bitcoin, that means they're going to have to come back and actually buy real Bitcoin from the network at the current price, which could be more than they collected from you in cash, right? So if they need to make you whole and get your 0.01 Bitcoin to withdraw off the exchange, they need to spend that money to buy that for you, right? If they don't buy it for you, and the price of Bitcoin goes down, and you withdraw while the price of Bitcoin goes down, then yeah, they can keep the difference, right? They can kind of game it up and say, okay, you bought it at 45,000, and you didn't want to withdraw it, but now you want to withdraw it at, I don't know, 39,000, right? Then they can pocket the difference, right? So it works both ways. It's a blade that cuts two ways. They can really game it up and charge you for 49K Bitcoin and charge you for 39K Bitcoin and actually give you charge you for 49K Bitcoin and actually give you 39K Bitcoin. They have a margin there they could win on, but it's risky, right? But who's to stop them from doing that? There's no regulations on it, right? Now, on the flip side, they could hurt themselves if you bought 39K Bitcoin and didn't go to withdraw it until it was 49, right? Then if they didn't buy it when it was 39, they have to cover the difference to get you the same amount of Bitcoin that you paid for, right? At a lower price. So that's how exchanges got in trouble. That's how FTX got in trouble, right? They were selling paper Bitcoin, air quotes. They were telling you bought this Bitcoin, but then when people went to go start to withdraw it, they had taken the money that was supposed to buy Bitcoin and they bought other stuff, or they invested in other things. Okay, so how do we get rid of all that stuff so you don't have to trust any exchange? How do we make it safe or easier? Is you go through the same process of buying. Control Shift Z. Yeah, you go through the same process of buying your 0.1 Bitcoin or whatever, how much Bitcoin you feel comfortable with on the exchange, and then immediately, as soon as you can, I know some places are over 5 days, some places are 10 days, some are 7 days. You wait the holding period for your funds to clear from the bank, and then you withdraw that coin to your own wallet, okay? Because here's how Bitcoin works. A Bitcoin can't exist anywhere but in a wallet, okay? So it's either in their wallet or it's in your wallet or in someone else's wallet, okay? It can't be in between, okay? So when you buy the Bitcoin from an exchange, 0.01 Bitcoin, for example, you tell them, okay, I want to withdraw it. I want to withdraw it to my Bitcoin wallet, okay? Oh, okay, well now these guys know about your Bitcoin wallet, and your Bitcoin wallet is it's private because nobody knows what it is. You know what it is, right? So you can always go check your wallet balance. We'll say it's this one, right? You can always go check your wallet balance after you make after you tell the exchange, okay, I bought my 0.01 Bitcoin, now I want to transfer it to my own Bitcoin wallet. Here's my address. Send it. Yeah, I'll pay the Bitcoin fees for the transaction, which is normal. And then once they transfer that Bitcoin over to you, now you don't need to trust that they're doing what they said they would do with your money. Okay? You have verified that they actually bought the Bitcoin for you and sent it over. You're basically forcing them to buy the Bitcoin when you asked them to transfer it for you. So instead of giving them like a year to hold on to your Bitcoin before you withdraw it and having the price go up and down and they can manipulate it and they can mess with it, you just get it off the exchange right away, right? And as soon as you get it into your wallet that you control, and we'll talk about that next, that you control, you basically have removed them from the equation, and now your money is right there for you, right? And the only person that can move that, or entity that can move that value, is the entity or person that has the keys for that wallet. Okay, let's talk about keys and all that stuff, and public keys and private keys and all that good stuff. Okay, all right. Oops, sorry guys, I'm trying to learn this off. Oops, this one. Escape, Control Z. There we go. There we go. Okay, so let's try to make this fit here. Okay, so that was a process of moving your coins to your soft custody. Okay, now let's talk about soft custody. Okay, anybody can create what's known as a Bitcoin wallet. It's kind of like an account at a bank, except for you don't need to give them your ID. You don't need to give them your home address. You don't need to give them your social security number. You don't even have to be 18, right? Bitcoin is open to anybody and everybody. You don't have to be a certain wealth level. You don't have to be a certain race. You don't have to be male or female. You can be an alien if you want to, like a legit alien, okay? As long as you have internet access and a phone or a device that can run a Bitcoin wallet software, you are able to participate in this money, right? in this network. So, well, if you're so that opens up so many implications that we're not going to go into today. But just think about the idea of people in the countries that can't trust their banks, right? Us, but more wildly, other countries that are like third world, where the banking system is not even available to most people, right? If they have a phone with internet, they can run an app, they can participate in this network, which is amazing. Okay, they can start anyway. Let me stop myself there. Let's keep it going. Let's stay on topic. Okay, so this is how Bitcoin works. When you set up a new Bitcoin wallet, you in essence connect with the Bitcoin network, and you register you ask them to send you you basically register an account. You register a new wallet. Part of that wallet setup process is for the network to give you a couple of addresses. They're called keys. Okay, think of it as I think it's like a 32 character randomly generated line of text or hexadecimal maybe hex. You have hex, and you have one that's considered your public key, and one that's considered your private key, and that's associated with your wallet on the Bitcoin network. Okay, when you set this up, the Bitcoin network will only give that to you once. Okay, on some setups you can choose to do a 12 word seed phrase, but most now do 24 words. I would recommend doing a 24 words, but we're doing a 12 words here because it's easier for me to make the example. Okay, so here's the procedure. You sign up, say I want to make a new wallet. You go through whatever interface you're using, and they say, okay, make sure you have a piece of paper so you can write down your seed phrase. Okay, so and what your seed phrase represents, it's a way to write it down in words, so it's less likely you'll make a mistake and easier to verify against the software. And these words represent a hex code that is actually representing your private key. Okay, and we'll talk about private keys and public keys in a second. Just know that that's how you get it. And you're only going to get it once. When you set up your software, you'll never be able to ask for it again. So if you lose that and you lose access to your device or your software that you had that key in, you're basically going to lose that account. And there's no Bitcoin help desk. Okay, so there's no Bitcoin tech support. You got to do this. You got to be super diligent. If the one thing you take away from this whole broadcast today is safeguard your keys, right? Because you don't want to be the guy that lost everything. Okay. All right. Let's keep it going. So you create a new account. You create a new Bitcoin wallet. You get the public key. You get the private key, and they ask you to write these words down in a safe place. Once you write these words down, I'm going to tell you right now, do not ever, ever, ever take a picture of these words. Don't photocopy these words. Don't put them in a note in any electronic device. Okay, even a password a password saving software you might have in your computer. No, none of that. Only write it down on paper or stamp it into a metal plate like we talked before, right? But the idea here is don't save it in any way, shape, or form digitally. Don't take a picture of it because all that stuff makes your seed phrase vulnerable to being found out, right? Somebody can hack your computer and hack your password management thing. Somebody can hack iTunes or whatever Dropbox, whatever remote hosted cloud storage you might have associated with your phone that you forgot that if you took a picture, it automatically gets backed up to the cloud. That's a vulnerability, right? Because if somebody finds your seed phrase during a hack that might have nothing to do with you, they're gonna have your seed phrase and they will be able to control your wallet. Okay, let me tell you how that works. So when you make a transaction on Bitcoin, yeah, you can do a couple things, right? You can receive Bitcoin, and when you receive Bitcoin, you give somebody your Bitcoin address, like a Bitcoin address. It could be one that most Bitcoin addresses get generated from your public key. It's like a subset of your public key, right? So you give them an address, they send you Bitcoin, and it works just great. With that address, they can never pull Bitcoin. It's only a push to you. That way the safety is built in. No matter what public what incoming address you give them, what receiving address you give them, they will never be able to withdraw from that address. Okay, so that's how you receive. Okay, now when you send Bitcoin, it's a little bit more complicated because the Bitcoin network challenges you to say, okay, I received your request to send 0.01 Bitcoin from your wallet address 3, for example, to wallet address 4. Can you validate it with your private key, right? And on most on the device where you set up your wallet, it has a kind of like a copy of the private key, so that you can do the thing where you type in your PIN and you fingerprint or whatever security you have set up to basically sign that transaction. Okay. Once the network sees that the request is made and they actually signed it with the correct private key, then it goes ahead and puts that into the memory pool to get processed and picked up by the miners. Okay. So that's how that part works. Okay. So there's a difference between a hot wallet and a cold wallet. A hot wallet basically keeps it can run on your phone, for example, right? And it keeps both the public key and the private key on that phone in software, right? I mean, it's on software, but it's all together in your phone. So if somebody were to come and take your phone and had access to it and knew like your password, they could go in there and push Bitcoin out of your phone, right? Push Bitcoin out of your application on your phone. Okay. So it's better than keeping your coins on the exchange. It's way better than keeping your coins on the exchange. But it's not as secure as the next level, which would be cold storage, right? Or having a cold wallet associated with it. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, you basically take the software can be running on your phone or on your computer, right? And you set it up so that your private key is actually not stored on your software device, like on your hot wallet on your phone or your desktop application. It's actually stored on a separate device, right? On a cold wallet. And so now what happens is if you want to receive, as long as you have some receive addresses already set up, you can receive no problem. You don't need the hardware wallet. But if you go to send a transaction now, then you add another layer of it. So if somebody takes your phone and they have access to it, or your computer and they have access to it, like your computer got hacked, as long as your hardware device is not attached to the computer or the phone while it's being hacked, they might be able to attempt to push Bitcoin out of your wallet, but they won't be able to because they need the hardware device to be connected, and you have to do the whole code thing, sign into your hardware device, and then approve or sign the transactions separately with that little hardware device. It's like a seed signer, right? It has a private key now. The software doesn't on the phone or the computer. And so it makes it one more layer of safety. Even if your computer gets compromised, it won't matter as long as your hardware device is not plugged in and they can't get the actual private keys. Okay. All right. That's the safety portion of it, right? Now let's bring it all back to Bitcoin custody and how to do it with and why it matters. Okay. So it matters because you can take it off the exchange and it forces the exchange to actually buy the Bitcoin for you and send it over. It matters because at that point, you don't have to trust anybody to hold your coins for you. You know it's in your wallet, right? And the third thing that we're going to talk about today is the most important part of this is making sure that you have this secure, your seed phrase, okay? Your seed phrase is like your backup, okay? Your seed phrase is like it's your backup basically. But if somebody else gets your seed phrase, they can use it to restore your stuff and take your funds. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick, a little bit slower, and a little bit different with a different angle. Okay, so you have your hot wallet here. If your hot wallet, if you lose your phone, right, and it gets destroyed, or you lose your hardware wallet and it gets destroyed, it's okay. You just get a new phone, re-download the app, get a similar hardware signing device, and then restore your wallet access, your private key and public key from your seed phrase. Okay? So you don't lose anything. You're good to go. You're back in business. You don't lose your wealth. Okay? Now vice versa, if you were to if you were to lose a seed phrase for some reason, you wrote it down on a piece of paper, the piece of paper got lost or thrown in the trash or where somebody stole it, then you have a limited amount of time before they can try to recover your wallet for you. And when that happens is what you have to do in that scenario is, since you still have access to your wallet via the hardware and hot wallet that you have set up in the past, you should go and set up a brand new wallet that you have the seed phrase for, right? A completely new one that you have the seed phrase for, and then go to your old wallet that you lost the seed phrase for, since you still have access to it physically and your cold storage device still works. You push that, all the Bitcoin that's in there, to your new wallet that you actually have the seed phrase for. Okay, so you're never in a situation where you don't have both. Okay, if you're in a situation where you lost either your seed phrase or you lost your hardware device, you're kind of in the danger zone. Okay, especially if you lost the seed phrase and still have the hardware device access, you're definitely in danger zone. Less so if you still have the seed phrase, because you can recover it to any hardware device, right? Or most hardware devices that are similar to what you had it in the past. But if you lose the seed phrase, then it's just a matter of time before that hard drive or hardware or the software wallet gets either like it fails, it breaks, or it just stops working. Then you're screwed. You don't have any way to get your stuff back. The only way is to the seed phrase at that point. Okay, so if you lose your seed phrase, one more time, if you lose your seed phrase, you are in the danger zone, red zone. Okay, hopefully you still have access to your hardware wallet and your signing device, and you can create a new wallet. Make sure you write down the new seed phrase that you got from your new wallet. Make sure it works, and then you send the funds in your old wallet that you lost the seed phrase for to your new wallet. And then that way, on your new setup, you'll have the seed phrase and access to the wallet itself. You want that backup. You always want to have two points of access, right? All right. I think I beat that horse pretty good. That horse is beat. If you have any questions, throw it in the chat, and I'll pick them up during the Q&A segment of the show. Now let's jump into the third segment of the show, which we like to call, it's not why we stack. It's a stack recap. Stack recap. Okay. Today our stack is looking lousy. Okay. Let's go here. Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay. It's good. It's looking lousy. We're down about 10% in our stack, but it's okay. We don't panic. We know what our buying schedule is, what our DCA schedule is here on the show. In case you're new, let me review it really quick, and then we're going to do the buy. On the show, we buy Bitcoin Monday through Friday. Regardless of the price, we buy it. Our minimum purchase price is going to be $20 of Bitcoin. If the price of Bitcoin is below our average buy price, we will do what we like to call a double stack. If the price of Bitcoin is below our all-time low purchase price on the show, which is which is 42,000. Oh no, it's 40,206. Then we do what we like to call a quadruple stack. That's 4. That is $80 worth of Bitcoin today. And we're doing that because when the stacking is good, you gotta stack good, right? So today we're gonna pick up $80 worth of Bitcoin at the current price. And here we go. Next order of business is nothing else but to stack some SATS. All right, here we go. As you guys know, I like to stack over at Swan Bitcoin, right? It is KYC, unfortunately, but you're not paying any extra fees to withdraw your funds to your cold storage. And you can set it on a schedule to withdraw every 0.01 Bitcoin. That's what I like to do. And I know when it just that if I just do my constant DCA, it gets withdrawn to my cold storage. And I don't have to worry about it. Right? I get the emails that says, all right, the deposit's been your cold. It says something like about your Bitcoin has been moved to your cold storage. I go in there, I verify it on the blockchain, and yep, there it is. And just like that, keep stacking. Okay, it makes it a little bit easier. If I weren't doing this, if I were not doing the show, I would actually use the Swan Bitcoin automatic DCA function. You basically just say, hey, I want to buy X amount of Bitcoin every day, every month, every week, and it just does it for you. And then when you get to a certain amount, in my case 0.01 Bitcoin, it automatically transfers it to your cold storage. So in essence, you have a fully built solution that's hands-free to stack and take custody. So all of the virtues that we talk about during today's show are met with that simple setup, right? And then just basically sit back and continue to do what you need to do. On days like today, when the price is extra low, maybe you want to go in there and do a manual extra stack, right? Because stacks are cheap. Sorry, because sats are cheap right now, right? All right. That said, let me get a preview of this buy. Say preview. Get a preview of this buy for the notes. Put it into my notes over here. All right. That said, nothing else to do but hit that buy button. All right, here we go. Drum roll, please. Wow, it's pretty fast. Wait for it to jump through. And just want to see it. Acknowledge. Don't automatic withdrawal goes to cold storage using the same address every time. How does it work? There it goes. Just like that. The purchase has been made. We put on some chill music. Just like that. All right. Let's update the stats with today's buy. Mr. Andres says, doesn't automatic withdrawal go to cold storage using the same address every time? How does it work? I think you can input multiple addresses, Mr. Android, or you could go in there and update it so you have different addresses each time if you want to. But then you can run into the issue of having UTXOs that are too small, right? So you can decide what your preference is as far as UTXO sizes, and then once you get, just kind of remind yourself, okay, once I do 1 or 2 or maybe 0.1 Bitcoin on this address, I'm gonna go in there and change it to a different address, and that's probably like the easiest, like the most manual way to do it. That way you can control how much is in each wallet ID. So you don't run into the problem of like having too small of a UTXO down the road, right? So that's a good question, dude. Very good question. All right, so let's update the spreadsheet with today's buy. We got, oh my gosh, we're doing quadruple stacks. We're doing quadruple stacks. We're doing quadruple stacks like it's going out of style. 24. Okay, today we bought at 39. Let's go. 39. 237. Just like that. $80. And the yield for today is 0. What? What's going on here? Okay. It threw me off. This two threw me off. Look at that. That's a lot of sats right there. like this one switching to a 2 kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, did I make a mistake? I didn't. Boom. 201,874 sats added to the stack, and we're getting pretty close to 2 million sats in 2024. Slow and steady. I mean, this is kind of not slow and steady, doing $80 buy-ins, but you know, it's the rules of the game, right? So this is our current biggest buy. Let's update the whole bag for the show. For the whole show, we got, since we started the show, we got 12 million sats, 12.6 million sats. So let's add this buy to this one. We're tracking 2024 separately, and we're also tracking it within the overall one, because if you're new to the show and you see the stack since the beginning of the show, you might think it's too late for you to get started, right? But no, we just restarted it in 2024, and you'll see we'll be in gains in no time. Let's see. Here. All right, so the overall cumulative for the show, we're also about to hit 13 million satoshis, right? So I'm double counting though, okay? So the satoshis we just added are accounted for in here. It's not these plus these. These are just being tracked for the purchases in 2024, okay? If you want to check out this spreadsheet yourself, you use it as a template, you can do so by typing in !sat sheet in the chat, and you'll get a link for it. So you can go and download it and use it and tweak it however you want. Or if you just want to look through our numbers, they'll be on there. I think it's this one right here. Yeah. See, it'll take you to this place, and you can say, you can see where it says here, use template. Boom. You can use template here. You can go through our current stats. Right, we just updated it. You go to our burrito index. Right. And I had this sheet in here because I was gonna do something about how much assets under management these different companies that are doing ETFs have. So that's a ton of money. But I never finished that out, so you can just ignore that one. But this is a good one. And if you want to just start from this year, you can just copy this sheet and start tracking your SAT purchases and see how many gains you're getting. But the only number that matters, guys, is that your Satoshi number keeps going up. Okay, that's what we care about. The more sats that you have in your control and in your wallet that you have the seed phrase for, and that you don't need to trust anybody to verify that those funds are actually in there, right? That is the whole point of today's episode. So with that, let's get into Q&A, I guess. If you have any questions, now's a good time to put it in the chat. Woo! Well, Mr. Android, my Twitter is @RomanCastro. I know it sounds very, just my actual name. I don't even know if it's something that I'm not gonna change it at this point. I think I started using Twitter back in '94, dude, but I never like really went all in on it. But my account was super old. I was like, ooh, I just want to get my name before somebody gets it. So I was lucky enough to get my name. Yeah, so that's what I got as far as controlling wallets and securing them, and why we do it, and why the idea of getting your coins off of the exchange is so powerful, and you have to do it. Okay, if you're not doing that, then you're not really Bitcoining. Okay, if you're keeping your coins on an exchange because you're trading them, because you're trying to make more melting ice cubes by trading Bitcoin, you're losing. Okay, you gotta buy your coins, take them into self custody, and guess what? You know why I put that big brain in the thumbnail, right? Because at that point, when your Bitcoin is in self custody in a wallet that you control, that you have the seed phrase for, in reality, all you need is your seed phrase to be able to recover it, right? And what is a seed phrase but words, right? This is not an actual seed phrase. This is just a made up seed phrase I made. Welcome Stacks Satoshis show save wealth in hard money, Bitcoin only, Bitcoin. Okay, so let's say that this was an actual seed phrase. Okay, and they're never gonna make sense. Sometimes they seem like they make sense, but it's not. you memorize your 12 words and in the order they're in, or 24 words in the order they're in. And now you truly do have the ability to have all of your wealth, or all of the wealth that Bitcoin is representing for you. It's not really, your Bitcoin doesn't really live in your cold wallet. Your Bitcoin doesn't live in your hot wallet, right? Your wallet is only holding the signing key, the private key, for you to be able to tell the Bitcoin network, hey, transfer, hold on a second, transfer this amount of sats to that address. Here's my private key so you know it's me. And the Bitcoin network says, okay, cool, that's you, sending it, right? Super simple, right? But the idea of having a safe in your brain, that's harder than any other safe. It's harder than any safe to crack. You know, you can't crack it, right? Don't do that. Don't just remember your seed phrase, because you could forget it, get into an accident, and then you're screwed, right? Have a backup, a physical backup, but write it by hand, or stamp it into a seed plate, or any kind of like the washers is a good idea too. Washers on a bolt. But yeah, that's how you secure your wealth. And guess what? You don't need anybody else involved in that process, right? You don't need to get permission from anybody to spend your coins once they're on your wallet that you control. You need permission to move your stuff. If you decide to move to a different country, right? You can just, if you're forced to move to a different country, which would be even worse. If you're in a war-torn area and you got to flee, right? You can't take your money with you, your cash, because first of all, that cash you're fleeing with is probably local government cash, and then won't be worth anything when you get to the next country. If you're taking gold with you, or some other precious metal, or like jewels, you'll probably get robbed on the way, right? We go back to the original problem of why Bitcoin fails. Sorry, why gold fails as a money, is that it can be taken from you, right? But if you have to flee and all your wealth can be converted into Bitcoin, then the Bitcoin network is keeping track of that stuff for you. And all you need to remember is your seed phrase, right? And who is to know that you have seed phrase, that you have a seed phrase, that you have Bitcoin when you're fleeing from somewhere? Nobody, right? There's no way that somebody can read your mind yet. When the world goes full on Ghost in the Shell, and you can actually plug into your brain and get on the internet, and your mind can get hacked, that might be a problem of keeping your seed phrase safe. But until then, this is the safest thing you can do, right? And nobody can they could force you to give it to them, but you still have to make the choice to actually give it to them, right? For the first time ever, you can choose to go out with your wealth, right? We'll cover this last point because I've covered it before, but it's a kind of a good way to sign off, or to finish the episode. Is for the first time in the history of humanity, you're actually able to take your wealth with you to the grave if you want to, right? It's crazy. It's a crazy idea, right? But not even the pharaohs that built the pyramids with so much power in existence, they didn't have the power to take their wealth with them, right? We do, right? Just as common people, we have the power that a pharaoh wished they had, right? Because even though they built these huge pyramids and hid all their treasures with them and took it into the afterlife, they still got robbed and ransacked by grave robbers, right? And they're probably walking around broke in the afterworld. We'll be chilling. Do you stack stocks and or precious metals also, or are you full BTC maxi? Mr. Android, yeah, I'm full BTC, dude. I'm irresponsibly full BTC, some might say, but I'm convicted enough to know that, or to feel that it's the only way to do it, and I'm all in, dude. I'm all in, to the point where like family members are like, you should diversify, and I'm like, there is no second best. so I'm like, yeah, I'm hard in, dude. like it's gonna work or it's not. Carl says, Trezor Model 1, is this the preferred cold wallet? I like Trezor. There's also other wallets. Cold Card is a good one. And what's it called? Blockstream Jade is a good one too. If you can plug it into your computer, we try to get it to work with the USB, but we couldn't figure it out. I'm gonna give it another shot. Try to figure that USB thing issue out. Okay, but yeah, the best wallet is Foundation Passport. There you go. There's one. I have to make the move. Yeah. Okay. Carl, look in the in our Discord server. I have wallets right there. The Trezor one is where is it? Let's see. Wallets. Yeah, there's a whole Bitcoin basics section. Start here, and on the bottom of that there's a wallets section. Okay. There's a Model 1 and a Model T. The Model 1 is probably the way to go. Model T's got a touch screen, but you know it's nice. It's a nice to have. It's not a need to have, right? And you can make it to you could update the firmware on it so it's Bitcoin only firmware. That's what I recommend. So Bitcoin only firmware on that. And it's really easy to manage. Okay. Cool. All right. So with that, let's start to wrap up this episode. I want to thank every single one of you guys for tuning in today. I know you have other things you could be doing, but you chose to hang out with us today. The likes are at 6 likes. Killing it. We're above 5 likes. And yeah, this is fun for me still, guys. I feel like if I can help one person stop getting swindled by the US government and the fiat system, if I can help one person understand the beginnings of even just start to question the system and to start learning about Bitcoin, like my job is done, right? And when you guys tune in and hit that like and subscribe and do all that stuff, you're making it possible for me to spread the signal even more, right? Because the algorithm will push it, and you know, more people will start to these ideas will get out more. Okay, so with that said, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the SATS show here, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, 3:30 Eastern. Until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. 100%, baby, all the way.